New season, new season. Hey, boo. Hello, hello, hello.
It's been, oh, what's the song? It's been a long time. We
Yes.
should have left you without daddy, daughter to step
Yeah.
two,
I
step
don't know
two,
that
step
song.
two.
If I knew it, I'd get with you on it.
Y'all, how y'all doing? My space buns keep blinking.
Yeah, you keep
It's gotta
with
sit still.
going from bald to hair. Yeah. But it's
Anyways, hi daddy. How
hey
you
baby doll, how you doing, sweetheart? You all
I'm
right?
doing well. Welcome, y'all. Welcome to season 3 of Daddy to Daughter. Oh, God, can you
Very
believe
successful first two seasons. Thank you guys for making it a success.
it's
Thank you for
amazing?
those that watch, those that follow. We appreciate you. God bless you.
Absolutely amazing. Well, get comfortable. Thanks so much for joining us today and allowing us into your space. Come on in. We
Amen.
have no idea. What are we talking about today, Dad?
You know what, sweetheart? I was thinking today, there's a couple of things that I've been thinking about. And I think, this is not to be religious, but it is correlated to relationship with Yeshua. But
Mm,
I was thinking about the process of sanctification
okay.
and the whole process that it takes to be sanctified, because to be sanctified means to make it a little bit more succinct and palatable to those that may not have biblical literacy in that area, uh, to be the best person you can be.
Love it. I'm
And
so
to be
glad
the
that you
best
broke that down.
to be the best person you can be means that you're translucent to some degree. People can see through you, can see who you are. Because
Parent.
sanctification is the purity of an individual. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And we have to be careful that we sanctify our mind and that we don't situate ourselves so that we look sanctified, but we're not.
Love. It's
And
good.
that's the cleansing of the soul, the cleansing of the mind, and it's the perpetual, continual process of renewing the soul or renewing the mind. And that's what I've been thinking about anyway.
How does
Because
that relate to the human experience, Dad?
I think that everybody is looking for some sort of sanctification because it makes you unique.
Redefine it. Sanctification is
It means to be your set apartness, your uniqueness, the person that makes you who you are. The scripture tells us to sanctify the Lord our God in our hearts. And what he actually means is to set a special place in our hearts for him, and to make that place a whole place. I won't say holy, let's just say a whole place. And
yeah,
our process of sanctification is not so much trying to be holy, but to be whole is to be holy.
absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? So I
Absolutely.
think it's just the whole process of becoming a whole person. So I think uh, the whole process of what I've been thinking about has more to do with uh, being predictable
In a good way.
in a good way. That people can predict the purity of who you are. The
Right.
yeah the
Being
consistency.
consistent.
There you go. There
Mm,
you go. Which is so important in life, not just in marital relationship or in but it's important in life that you find that place of uniqueness, and the process of and sanctification in its process is to get rid of all the stuff that does you no good.
yeah.
Getting rid of the guy that does you no good, girl, the friends, the people that don't really bring anything to you. And we're using people, but we're not just talking about people. We're talking about ideas, virtues, thoughts, habits that ultimately does not yield what you desire in life. Why do I sow in places that I don't ever yield?
I think that is a very good question that we don't ask ourselves often enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also too, there's so much. I was talking to TT Tara earlier today. Tara's my older sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too often in this life, in this human experience, we make so many things about what is outside of us, right?
Yeah,
I'm really,
I
really
like
big
that.
on this relationship with ourselves because
Yeah,
we
and
will,
that's sanctification in itself. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
okay.
Yeah,
But just in terms of like the relationships and being able to acknowledge that this relationship this relationship with this person is not really in alignment with me. It's not in alignment with my purpose. It's not in alignment with what I see for myself. And
mm-hmm.
not that it's all like this spooky spiritual
No.
or like but it's a literal thing. Like this person, I don't know, parties all the time. They like to go out and do things that I'm not interested in doing, things that I
Mm-hmm.
maybe have done in the past, and I know that they don't best serve me, right? They don't
Right.
serve my highest good.
Right.
There are things that I'm trying to cut away from my life, and I really enjoy this person, or I might really like this person, but they're still immersed or still participating in these things that I know are not good for me. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's a misalignment. Then that
Yeah.
means that's something that's not suited for your highest good, but it has more to do with you, your own alignment, than it does the person. But
Mm-hmm.
too often we make it about outside of us. We make it about our relationships. And it's a fine line, right, Papa? Because the older I get, the more I realize that as much as life is about love, and not just romantic love, but love in all forms, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Friendship, and I mean, even the love that I feel for my coworkers in just
Mm-hmm.
wanting what's best for them. Life is so much about that. But even more so, I feel like it's more so about the love of me, the love for me, um, knowing me, wanting what's best for me, and living a self-centered life. And we've been taught that being self-centered is bad. But what I mean is what you said earlier, which is being centered in you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Which is to be centered in God.
Yeah.
It's to be centered in Him. I mean, because He's in all, through all, and in all. I think a lot of times in life, because uh, we tend to only require the presence of Yeshua when we have crisis, we forget that He's there even when we don't. You understand what I'm saying? And I think finding that place where you are, you're the authentic person that He created, the image that you're trying to impress upon yourself that He's put in you, that's hindered by all the things in the world that come at you. You
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying? You're trying to find that person, and then trying to find that person. You're going to run across relationships that are, how can I put it? I won't say not good for you, but are teachable moment relationships that are not supposed to be lifelong teachable moments, but they're supposed to be moments teaching. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the rude person at the 7-Eleven. That shouldn't take you 30 minutes to get over. It shouldn't be a situation where you're glitched. That's a good place. You're glitched because somebody did this to you or somebody did that. I think once you get to a place and you can uh, troubleshoot quickly,
Mm,
troubleshoot your soul quickly. Oh, okay, that's it. Nope, we're not going to go that way.
that's right.
It's like taking your car and getting it diagnosed, getting it, putting that thing on and getting diagnosed so that it can go straight to the problem rather than opening up the engine, going through all of these things to find out what it is. Spiritually speaking, if you just listen to the image on the inside of you, you know who's compatible to you and who's not. Friendship, relationship, husband, wife, or whatever. And
What's, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish your thought. I didn't want
you know, your mom and I took her away for her birthday. She just celebrated her birthday, 68th birthday. Happy birthday, babes. We just took her away, and we were talking about our past, and we were talking about, she was asking me, did I feel that we were compatible? And I think that my answer probably not what we want to hear, because I think compatibility, especially when you're young, it's more about lust and desire. Because I like anything you like everything I like when we're in the heat of endorphins and all the other stuff.
to. Mhm.
And then when you care about a person and then you have a child by a person, then you become compatible. You
Yeah.
morph into what I needed to be her husband. It doesn't mean that I didn't love her. It just means that I don't believe in compatibility. I believe in energy. I believe compatibility is built over time. I think energy. I think it's like I told your mom. I said you and I had great energy.
Yeah.
Compatibility was something I grew into and we grew into, because you don't know whether you're compatible. Liking me is, and me liking you and we having great chemistry doesn't mean we're compatible.
It does not. Okay, can we park here for us?
Sure, go ahead, Park. Go
I
ahead,
really
go ahead.
like this conversation. We didn't talk about what we was going to talk about at all, but I like this conversation. So would you say you said you grew into compatibility. Would you say that you and mom are in alignment?
Yeah, I think we've always been in alignment, but I just think that with when I say alignment, I say this, that we mutually agree. We had a child that we have to take care of.
Yeah.
I mutually understand that as a man, I had to take care of her. There were things that we understood, but I wouldn't voice it as compatible. I think when we say that, it's such a transitory thing.
I agree.
Because I think compatibility just comes from compassion. If you're passionate about a person, you make it work. You make it work.
100%.
You may not like the fact that he smokes cigarettes or she clicks her nails or whatever, anything. Mm-hmm. You may not like that little thing about that person, but if there's passion, if there's love, and there's mutual vision, you morph into the husband I need to be. You morph into the wife you need to be, or the friend you need to be, or the work companion, or the partner in bed. You make the situation work. Compatibility has nothing to do with we were just right for one another. That's that's delusional and illusional. It's not. Nobody's just right.
But do you think that when people say that, they're speaking to perhaps a time in their life where maybe they knew themselves more than they knew themselves before, and then they met someone who knew themselves more than they knew themselves before, and so it created a
void. They feel the void. The person came into your. I would say that's the case. I would say that's the case with my wife, where I'm concerned, and Tara is concerned. But I don't think it was compatibility.
Let me ask you this, Papa. So say like and I like to be careful with my words, but it's okay. Say like you were a single man. Mm-hmm. Single man, mm-hmm. You're 66 years old. Mm-hmm. You've raised kids, mm-hmm. and you found yourself single. You know, mm-hmm. yourself way more now than you knew yourself when you first got married, right? Mm-hmm. Or you knew yourself way more whether you got married or not. Yeah. You have come to know yourself in a deep way, mm-hmm. than when you were younger. Right. Your criteria would be different. You would be looking for someone, if you wanted to find a partner, you would be looking for someone based on a very different kind of criteria. Yes, right? Very much so. I would venture to believe she would be in the same situation. Her criteria would be different. And at our age, yes. Right? And we've both been through relationships. So yeah, at a certain age. Necessarily be based mostly on passion. It would be based on not necessarily compatibility, but alignment, right? Companionship. See, alignment to me, when we say align, baby girl, I look at it more of the adjustment of the individual who's the subject than it is trying to align with someone. When I think of alignment, though, I'm thinking in terms of spirit. Yes. I'm thinking in terms of purpose. I'm thinking in terms of the unseen things that make it right, suitable for you to be with this person, be it a friend, be it a romantic partner, be it a job. So you're talking in alignment with the person, because when I use the alignment, it's always with purpose and destiny. Because I don't really, how do I put it? Align with people. And I hope that don't sound right. It don't sound wrong. And because I understand your definition. No, I understand what you're saying. Using it go ahead. No. I was just saying, yeah, okay. I understand what you're saying now too. Because I can't align with people because they're too fickle. I have to stay aligned with Jesus, and when they're in my vein, I can be fruitful and I can feed them. And even if they're not, I have another lane to switch into because I'm aligned with fruit. I'm aligned with purpose. I'm aligned with husband, daddy, provider. Those are the things that keep me in line. 100%. Those are the things that I have to align with. So do you feel as though you don't have anyone in your life? Well, that's kind of, sounds negative, but would you be able to identify people in your life who you you believe are also in alignment with their own
Yes.
purpose,
I can
which
identify.
makes it easy for you to hang out with them or spend time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm speaking to.
Yeah. Yeah. When someone is aligned with their purpose and
Okay.
their design, um, I think we do ourselves a disservice when we try to be compatible. I think if you get alignment, then compatibility speaks for itself. If I'm aligned with my values, whether they be Christ-like, whether they be moral, if I'm aligned with my values, I shouldn't be looking for someone who, how can I put it, who I got to help teach my values.
100%. Yes, sir.
Those are just the basic rudiments, foundation of relationship. Now I may have to teach you how to relate to my values.
Mm-hmm.
I need to teach you what these values are. I may need to instruct you or give some kind of insight to the individual I'm dealing with about how I function or how I handle situations. But they're never going to align with me unless they align with where I'm going.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? That's why relationships are so important. Is that somebody got to be going somewhere so alignments can be made. What I mean, somebody has to be in pursuit of something higher. In many relationships, you have two individuals, and if I give the scenario, you would be able to picture some individuals who just exist together.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
They just exist together.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of them are in alignment with virtue. It's different. You can't be aligned with the fruit and just exist in a relationship.
No.
Then you're not aligned with fruit. So we will never have a great relationship. So why hang out? Unless I'm committed beyond that individual, i.e. in a relationship with kids and all of that. Mm-hmm. But as a single woman, as a single man, get this now. Then you can save yourself a lot of time fooling with people. And I don't mean that in a negative way. You don't have to deal with him if he don't line with going to church. And you go to church. And you well, I'm going to pray. Well, go ahead. No. But the way of the transgressor is hard. It's going to be a long argument.
I got time for that.
Those are basic values. Does he treat you kindly? Does he open the door for you? That's all perfunctory stuff. Is he considerate? Does he hear you?
Greater character quality.
Yeah.
That's why you mention those things, right? It's just a functionary, but where it comes from, right?
Yeah. It's the deeper part, not just the display, because anybody can display temporarily. Mm-hmm. But when the foundation of that individual, he's a gentleman, she's a lady. Yeah. I mean, how does she talk to him? How does she communicate with? I'm gonna use myself as a single man. How does she communicate with me? Right. Because she can say anything she wants to say. Not in my voice, though. You can't use my energy to bring it back to me. Then you become of no use to me. 100%. Because when if two of us are alike, one of us ain't necessary. Always said that. That's what being a husband is about, complementing the energy of our life. And it ain't always easy. Yes. Yes. And some couples never learn how to complement energy. And then you build a selfish individual who thinks they have to have their way and be right all the time. Yes. Then you wonder, why I can't keep a man? Why women always leave me? Because you're selfish. If you dissect every time he says to you, honey, I want you to do something different. If you defend yourself and you go into all of this stuff, you're going to make relationship hard. Why not just say, honey, you know what? You're right. If that's for you, I'll do it for you. Yeah. Well, I ain't going to say nothing I don't understand. I can't. That's childish. I can't do that. I don't have the energy for that. You understand what I'm saying? Alignment with purpose. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about not being in alignment with the person. And I love that we circle. You're aligned with a principle, not persons.
to the principle, because
Yeah.
the person is going to piss you off. The person
Oh,
get on your nerves. The person is going to do things that will, in your human mind, make you believe they don't deserve me, no change from me.
or
But
they
if
don't
you're
need
in
to be in
alignment,
my life, period.
right? If you're in alignment with your purpose,
You may have to keep that person around
you might have to.
because they may serve another purpose.
They may.
That's why I say husbands and wives. Not all husbands and wives are happy together.
Yeah, that's out.
They're content together. But the contentment comes from godliness.
Okay.
God, you don't see.
Okay.
They ain't hot, passionate in the love. No, they don't have to be in love, hot passion. There has to be some sometime, but it's got to be content. Because godliness with contentment is a great game.
Yes, it is.
It's nothing wrong with being content. Actually, the older you get,
Being content. I think content is a beautiful space to be.
I watch TV upstairs, she watches TV up downstairs. We're not breaking up over that. I sleep upstairs sometimes, she sleep downstairs. We're not breaking up over that because we're both godly and we're content with the energy we bring. That's what relationship is all about. Relationship is not. I was listening to a gentleman on TV. I'm sorry, baby. You want to share something?
No, go for it.
I was listening to a gentleman on TV, and he was sharing his heart, not in a negative way, because I probably wouldn't have listened to it had I thought it had venom in it. But he was sharing how when the woman, the wife that he was having problems with, met him, is that her expectations were super high.
Yeah.
I got to provide, I got to lead, I got to be a guide, I got to be all of this. And he was overwhelmed by the responsibility. I get it. Because if you don't have alignment, being a husband, a wife, being a father, a mother, being a worker, you will be totally overwhelmed by it.
Yes.
It is a privilege if a woman has a position that allows her husband to have freedom of thought, that she has a position on her job that allows him to have freedom of thought and not be tied to, I gotta be a provider. Maybe he'll open up a business and become a billionaire because he still has that gene in him, but he's not tied to it. If a woman on the same end, if she's not tied, the worst thing for me is to see a woman tied to the financial aspect of having to provide for the family because she's not built for that. He is. You understand what I'm saying? So when you add all of those pressures in and you put that, you add those relationships, then you add expectations, and then with you guys, and I thought about this weekend, y'all had me.
Yeah.
Now, no matter how good or how bad I was, y'all had me.
When you say we had you, you mean we knew daddy was gonna come home. We had a daddy. Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I was your first love. I was your first example of what a man is supposed to.
First crush.
Yeah. You understand? All my girls were in love with me. And it was important that I was that guy. Which diversifies why I'm with your mom. Now I got another job. Provide, lead. Now you understand? It's all of this stuff convert, and it's not like it's lesser for a female than it is for a male. But
thank you for saying that.
When you talk about compatibility, that has to mesh.
Yes, Papa.
How many couples have we've talked to, and she wanted one thing, he wanted another thing, and they didn't make it because either both were trying to provide or one was not providing, and you run into these clashes because they were, well, with me going in, that was never going to be an issue.
Yeah, you meant
because I understood my role. Now, it didn't matter what she did. I can't control that. I can make requests, but I can't control. But I do understand I have to stay true to my own frame.
You are in alignment with your purpose. I'm glad that we're having this conversation. Monday, I have weekly one-to-ones with my
Mhm.
And I'm one of the closest people to the president of the organization that I work for. I'm just
Mhm.
saying that for the purpose of framing this conversation, right?
Mhm.
And she asked me how my Mother's Day was,
Mhm.
and I updated her and told her how beautiful it was. And she told me that she envied me. And
Not
she
surprised.
said, I know a little bit about you from what we've shared, and we have, cute conversations. She said, and I have gathered that you have very loving parents, that you come from a home full of love. And I said, you're absolutely right.
Mhm.
Then she went on to say, and I'm sure that your mom is a rock star. I'm sure she's amazing. But a lot of why she's amazing is because I'm sure your dad is phenomenal.
That's a smart woman. That is an awesome.
Daddy,
You tell that woman, you tell your dad, you tell that woman, I told your story to my dad. He told me to hug you and kiss you.
no,
Because very few people get that. I
she
set the
was
atmosphere for
divorced.
her to be the mom. None of this happens without the man. And I'm not bragging on myself. I think sometimes we're like, okay, he's a great husband, but she set the platform. He's a great wife. You can't be an at-home mom and have a lazy dad. I said, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
No, I
ahead.
mean
I
that
do.
that was the essence of the conversation, but I just felt like it was so appropriate to
It
share it
is.
because it literally just happened on Monday.
That's
And
so powerful.
it touched me because, for one, I know that I'm wearing my Morrison name
Mm-hmm.
well, and it's never
You
something I
represent.
put on,
Mm-hmm.
right? It is who I am.
Right.
For her to be able to say, I mean, and she always says really nice, beautiful things to me, like I love your joy and I love your peace and I love
Mm-hmm.
talking to you and all those things. But for her to be able to identify that I come from good stuff, that I come from a home of love, and then for her to take it a step forward.
And recognize deeper. I like that lady.
Your mom is a rock star. I'm sure she's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
but I need you to know that she's able to be as amazing as she is because of your dad. It
Amen.
blessed me. Like, and it's not something that I
I
don't
needed to hear
know,
that.
but
I needed to hear that. I think every man needs to hear that.
amen.
As much as we are celebrated because of our maleness, and men are sometimes given some men, depending on the complexion of the protection for the complexion.
Yes, sir.
Uh, uh, Men are afforded certain privileges and all of that. But at the same time, when you do it right, flowers mean so much. I know men that do it wrong and get flowers, but when
Right.
you do it right and you do it right consistently, it's like I've told you before, and I'll say it again. Consistency sometimes is the enemy of compliments.
Consistency sometimes is the enemy of compliments.